G'day folks, and welcome to this 3,000 subscriber update for the channel Wise Guy History. Thank you to everyone for subscribing. Thank you for the likes and comments and your engagement. It really is what motivates me to run the channel and to do all these videos. My motivation is an interest in game designs. On the channel I mainly cover sort of historically themed war games, but I mean I'd probably say half of what I play are Euro games, party games, board games in general. When I found that whenever I cover a game like that, so I did a video on one of my favourite games, Cooper Island, it doesn't tend to get as much interest. So I tend to focus the channel on those historically themed games and the issue of historical theme in games and the feel of these games. But yeah, I really do play a lot. Just over this week, for example, I've played some Imperial Assault, played a game of Paint the Roses. I played a fascinating game of my father's work, which is a really interesting worker placement game. Played a game of Roombound, but don't often get the opportunities to cover those on the channel. What I cover here is principally my solo playthroughs and reviews and discussions of these types of historically themed games. Now, as I spoke about in the 1500 subscriber update, I tend to kind of, around tax time each year when we get the tax return, that's when I tend to buy my games. I don't tend to buy games throughout the year. International shipping costs have made it really prohibitive. And so this year, I very recently picked up most of the games you see in front of you. Some of them are pre-orders. Most of them I picked up from the secondhand market. As the tax return came in, I was like, okay, I can buy some games. What do I want to get? And one guy in particular was selling a lot of his collection. So I picked up most of these secondhand, but they're still in shrink. So let me run you through what's going to be happening maybe over the next 6 to 12 months on the channel, starting with what's happening right now. Still playing Crowbar with the kids. This is a great cooperative game. You can play it solo. It's a great solo game. It's great to play it 3 players cooperative. There are also rules for competitive play as well. If you know the rules, you can have one person managing German reactions and actions and administration, while 2 other players who may be new to the game can just focus on their companies and advancing them. It's a fascinating game by Herman Luttman. This arrived with A Most Fearful Sacrifice. So yeah, that's set up at one end of the table. At the other end of the table, I have Empire of the Sun, 2nd edition, 4th printing set up, and I'm learning this. Now, this is one of the games that I previously failed on. About 12, 14 years ago, I had an early edition copy of this and struggled to make it through the rulebook. I have... and I got rid of it. So I've reacquired this 4th printing and I've worked through and I've been playing through, and it's still a struggle. It's a very big, complex game. A good rulebook just with some really abstract concepts. Card-driven game, but very unlike every other card-driven game I've played. It's probably the most unique feel among that card-driven series. A game by Mark Herman, of course, published by G&T Games. Fascinating game design, modelling the whole Second World War at a sort of broad strategic scale in the Pacific, I should point out. So they're happening right now, and this is sort of what potentially I have coming up. Right at the back here, you will notice A Most Fearful Sacrifice. Now, when this arrived with Crowbar, Cataclysm now, Hex to Hex, we're running through this. In fact, they were running through this before this arrived, and I was just watching on with envy. And when this finally arrived the other week, I'd watched so much of their videos, I thought, well, they're doing really good coverage of that, I'll wait. And so this is still in shrink as I've been watching Cataclysm now and Hex to Hex and others run through their amazing games of A Most Fearful Sacrifice. So check out those channels if you want to learn more about this. It will be coming eventually. I'm just in no rush. I know it's going to be a good game. I've been really excited for it to arrive, and then I've just been watching their videos, so it's kind of scratched that itch that I've had. I've been playing Crowbar instead. So that was a pre-order, that was a pre-order, and that arrived with the pre-order. below these games here, you'll see a sold on Gallipoli. So this was provided by the publishers. It's an upcoming game being released in October 2022. Check out my gameplays of that. In the description, there's the email address for the designer. You can contact him to pre-order a copy. It's a fascinating area control game focused on the Gallipoli invasion and battles during the Gallipoli campaign. I will have more coming up on this. I've got an unboxing and scenario playthroughs. There'll be more to come. In communication with the designers on some of the other scenarios they're developing for this. So it's still sort of they're working through playtesting and the like before it is released in October. Now, having played this and loved everything about it, I got really kind of I was very reminiscent of, I was mindful of how cool, how fun area control games are, and I have Storm over Stalingrad, I think it's called, and I used to own Breakout Normandy. I thought, I shouldn't have gotten rid of that so many years ago. Used to own this, never played it, got rid of it. Almost the next day, this copy arrived. This copy appeared on the secondhand market, so I dived at it, and I'm pretty keen to get to that as a priority. So you may see Breakout Normandy, because I'm really in this kind of area control mode at the moment. So I might finally work through the rules, an old Avalon Hill design and another Normandy design, and see how that goes. I'll come back to this in a moment. What else did I pick up? Okay, so pretty much from the same guy, selling a large part of his collection, I picked up Prelude to Revolution. New game design published by Compass Games, mobilization and unrest in Lower Canada in the mid-19th century. Can we call it the sequel or the successor to this design? I think it's called Prelude to Revolution. Currently, I think very close to being published, if not published by Compass Games. I haven't pre-ordered that. I want to check this out first. So that's still in shrink. That'll be coming soon. You may know I'm a big fan of Ted Racer designs, so this was on the list. Picked up Stalin's War, the Eastern Front, 1941 to 45. I've heard mixed things about this. Card-driven strategy with a hex. So, yeah, a bit of a mix between Barbarossa to Berlin and Empire of the Sun. Keen to see what this is like. I've heard mixed things over the years. It's published a few years ago. Can't see the date on it, but I've just been slow in getting to this. 2WW is the Second World War design, relatively lightweight treatment of the Second World War on a strategic level. So hex encounter, strategic level, similar to Rise and Decline of the Third Reich, but my understanding is it's relatively light and published by One Small Step. And then I picked up The War for the Union. I've had my eye on this for a while. Relatively new publication. Again, when did this come out? 2018, 2019. Designed by Rob Bamer. Keen to see. I've been playing the US Civil War recently. Keen to see how this compares to G&T's The US Civil War. Similar scale, similar complexity, I think. So I'll have more on that coming soon as well. Over on the right side, Adam Starkweather's Korea Fire and Ice. Again, I almost bought this so many times. In fact, I think I had it in my cart and there was an issue with shipping, so I had to remove it from my cart because they couldn't fit everything in the box. So that had to make the cut. Well, that was cut out of the order, and picked that up secondhand, all from the same guy. So thanks, Peter. Ted Racer again, Dual Pack, 2 titles, 1914 Glory's End and When Eagles Fight. Keen to see what Ted Racer can bring to these battles. Worthington Games, I found Worthington Games do some really nice sort of lighter treatments, and I've been really impressed by some of their games, and again have heard good things about 1759 Siege of Quebec. Thought I'd pick it up and try it out. Then, what are we doing these? Okay, so I used to play OCS. I used to play games from the Operational Studies group, Kevin Zucker. I got rid of my whole OCS collection and all my OSG games because I didn't find that they worked well solo. They're relatively complex games, often relying on hidden information in OCS. It's the stacks and the kind of level of planning required. In the OSG games, it's something similar. The stacking, the yeah, your screening forces, things like that. So I got rid of them many years ago. These came up for sale secondhand, and I thought, maybe I should get back into them. I've been watching Jezza1 did some playthroughs of this recently. OCS is always being played around the world. And I just thought, well, maybe I'll pick these up. They're relatively inexpensive. Picked up Korea, The Forgotten War, first edition copy. I've read through incidentally, a couple of months ago, I read through the most recent version of the OCS rules. And here's so many great things about it, and kind of miss playing OCS. So might see that coming up. Might see this coming up. Not necessarily priorities, but they may come up soon. Yeah, keen to see. I think these look very interesting in particular. Jezza1 has been doing some playthroughs of Kevin Zucker designs recently. Check out his channel, Jezza, Jezza1. Hexy's doing playthroughs of, and Cataclysm now has been doing playthroughs of this. There've been playthroughs of The War for the Union. What else have I seen recently? Korea Fire and Ice. There are some great videos on that as well. So yeah, I'm trying not to duplicate what others are doing. See if I can add to it, and that's why most people Sacrifice may wait for a while. I don't know what the priorities will be. As I said, probably break out Normandy. And we'll see. If you've got a dying urge to see one of these in particular, please let me know. I'm not really drawn towards anything 1759, maybe as a light treatment. First World War titles always grab my interest. Korea looked really good. Some of the videos I've seen on YouTube of Korea, there's some great videos on that. Stalin's War. Well, while I'm learning a card-driven game, Empire of the Sun, maybe I could shift straight over to Stalin's War. Let me know what you'd like to see. But basically, this is kind of sort of my next 12 months. And, well, the last one that I picked up is Summer Storm. Rick Barber map, beautiful map design, and Rick Barber's design on Gettysburg. He was, of course, an expert on Gettysburg campaign, the Battle of Gettysburg. Knew the terrain so well and designed some beautiful maps. This was his game design on Gettysburg. I don't know much about it. Clash of Arms publication, Summer Storm from 1998. Yeah, it's long been kind of on my radar, and I've never seen a copy for sale until very recently. So yeah, nabbed a copy of that. And what else will be coming up? Look, more for Blau. Loving my playthrough of that by Compass Games. I've covered this quite a lot over the last month or two. What else? Look, I've been tempted by Twilight in the East, 1914 Twilight in the East. It's just such a big game. GOSS I've got on Vassal, so I've been playing with small scenarios and struggling with small scenarios. Been playing Empire of the Sun on Vassal and on the Wargame Room program, so I may do some coverage of those as well. But yeah, again, if you want to see anything particular, give me a shout out, leave a comment, and I will try to accommodate. As always, thanks everyone for watching, thanks for subscribing, thanks for liking and commenting and engagement. I really appreciate it. It's what drives and motivates me to continue with these videos. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. I welcome your feedback, your thoughts, your criticisms, and yeah, constructive thoughts. Thanks as always, and take care everyone.